Hello, everyone. I hope you can hear me well. Just if someone can tell me that you guys can hear me, and then we'll wait a couple of minutes. Maybe someone else will join. Hi, Julia. Can you hear me? Oh, perfect. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Let's wait a couple of minutes and then we'll start the talking. I see in the chat, I see Julia that I want to introduce in a minute. And then Silky. Oh, Silky, nice to meet you. Where are you from? Richard. Okay, tell me something about you guys in the meantime that we wait. Ah, so you are you Italian or descendant of Italian that got the citizenship? Hi, Grace. Ciao, Manu. Lucchese, buongiorno. Ah, nice. So nice to meet you, Silky. I hope you watched my video about Italians in California. I'll link it in the description. Actually, that is the biggest regret of my channel. I genuinely think that is one of the best videos I've ever done about the Italians in California. Maybe I have this perception because I put so much effort and passion about it, but no one's watched it. It is one of my worst performing video, maybe because I don't know, the thumbnail was not great. But if you haven't watched it yet, I really recommend. Okay, you watched it. I'll just put it in the chat. Okay. Oh, then we have Richard from Pordenone, but now live in the UK, so you are Italiano. Okay, live in the UK. Grace, a long time subscriber. Thank you so much, Grace, for always being here. And then we have Lucchese. Where are you from? I don't remember. I remember that sometimes you comment, but I don't remember where you're from. And then there is my friend Eduardo that I know in person. Hi, another Italian, California, San Francisco Bay Area. Okay. So, guys, okay. Now, last but not least, I wanted to just to introduce you Julia Ambrosini, who's a great student, and she's doing a thesis about basically Italian emigration food with with a particular focus to Canada. And so she's probably going to go to Toronto in the very near future to interview people to understand how food shaped Italian Canadian identity. And so if you guys can, maybe if there is some Italian Canadian in the chat, or you know some Italian Canadian, she needs all the help she can to have like real people, because in this field, of course, studying is crucial, but you also need to know people. Okay, and so she's gonna go on the field in Canada. So if you guys can help her, she will be happy. You can do it by contacting me. So thanks, Julia, for being here. Lucchese, you are from Luca, and so you are you're Tuscan. It's so probably this tells me that your family emigrated quite early, because Tuscan emigration was either very early in the history of the Italian diaspora, and like many Californians, and I'm talking about like mid 1800s, or very late, like in the 50s, 60s of the 20th century, because the big Italian diaspora the one from 1880s to 1920s, there were very few people from Tuscany. It's one of the regions from which Italians emigrated the least in general. Yeah, yeah, in fact, early, so a very late emigration. Yeah, yeah. Thank you, Lucchese. Thank you so much. Okay, guys. So the reason why we're here today, first of all, I'm so sorry that I had to postpone this event. Of course, many people couldn't be here this time, and so will be less people, unfortunately. But it's my fault because I had problems with my son, so I was forced to cancel the original date of the live. But the reason we're here is because I want to discuss with you a little bit the video that I published. You can find it in the chat that I published around 3 weeks ago, which was about the new citizenship law that just enter just became law here in Italy, which basically destroyed or half destroyed the traditional Italian citizenship law known as ius sanguinis. And basically, as you know better than me, until now, if you had some kind of Italian blood in your family, basically through recollection of this family history, you could actually reobtain Italian citizenship, because according to the spirit of this law, you never lost it. You just have to reclaim it. That was the rule, and so millions of people obtain citizenship this way, despite being born in Canada, Australia, US, Argentina, Brazil, and many other countries. But this law changed everything, because, as you know, from now on, only children and grandchildren of Italians can claim the citizenship, and at least one of the two parents or grandparents has to be born in Italy. So the plethora of people will tremendously reduce. Okay. The point of my video was, there were several points, and let me know what you think about this. The first point was that this is not a very good time to implement this law, no matter whether it's good or not, because as I say in most of my videos, and I also made a specific video about it, Italy is in a demographic crisis that is it's so serious that Italy is basically terminally ill. There is no way we can recover from. We have touched the point of no return many years ago, and the situation is now unrecoverable. So we desperately need people from outside, because the Italian demographic crisis, the Italian demographic structure has become so absolutely unsustainable. We have too many old people, too few young people that can potentially have children, and these few people that could potentially have children don't want to have children. So this means that we need people, desperately need people from somewhere else, and we have two choices. We either get people through normal immigration from other countries, or we use, as Spain and Portugal are doing, we use the people of the so-called Italian diaspora. So people like you guys. You know that my channel is dedicated to you guys, and again, if you can, with any kind of amount, help me a little bit keeping this great community that we have created alive, because you know that my videos normally don't even cover the editing cost, I would be super grateful. But having said that, as Spain and Portugal are doing, one of the ways to not completely fix, because it's unfixable, but let's say to delay the unavoidable death of Italy, is to get people from countries that had huge migration of Italians. And I am actually in favor of this. Also because this kind of migration is easier to integrate into the Italian society, while if you get people from other countries with no cultural connection to Italy, it's not easy, especially in great numbers, to let's say assimilate them in the Italian society. I have to say though that I am also in favor of classic immigration, despite most Italians at the moment are not. I don't know if you know, but today in Italy there is an important referendum that asks people if they want to reduce the years necessary before asking for Italian citizenship for people who emigrated to Italy without any blood connection. It is 10, and this law wants to reduce to 5. And most importantly, this law wants to reduce to 5 the years of school with which people born and raised and schooled in Italy without Italian blood, so born from foreign families in Italy and raised in Italy, they can actually apply. Because now in Italy, if you are born and raised in Italy, but your parents are, let's say, I don't know, from Congo, you have to wait that you turn 18. Then you have to apply, and in several years, if you respected all the criteria, which are a lot, you will become Italian citizenship. But I teach in school, I have hundreds of people who were born and raised in Italy, but because they don't have Italian parents, they're not Italian according to the law. But in my opinion, they are, because I talk to them. I know that most of my audience, most of my YouTube subscribers, they don't want these people to become Italian, because they say, but I am Italian because even if I was born in Brazil or in the US, I have Italian culture inside me. So I am more Italian than someone who was born in Italy, but not with no Italian family, and maybe is not Catholic and whatever. I am halfway in this topic. Definitely, as I said in the video, I completely changed my idea about people of Italian descent, because as I said in this video, when I opened the channel, I was like, but if you are born in Brazil and your parents emigrated, and your, I don't know, great-great-grandparents emigrated from Veneto 150 years ago, you have nothing Italian left. I was convinced, same for Americans, but then I realized that, as you guys showed me, that many people of the Italian diaspora, they still feel very, very connected to Italy. And this moved me a lot. So I am in favor, but compared to most Italians and to most of my viewers, I still think that also classic immigration should be encouraged. But now I talked too much about my story. Let's read please, guys, in the chat, write what was your journey with the Italian citizenship, but also your idea about these topics that I just mentioned. Let me read here what we already have in the chat. In the meantime, please share. Grace, yeah, there are more Italians outside of Italy. In Australia, for example, most of us who qualify because we have, yes, Australia, like Canada, I also have a video about this. Many people emigrated very late, so after the end of the Italian diaspora. So many of them are still eligible because maybe their parents, or worst case scenario, their grandparents emigrated. But in the Americas, especially in South America, but now also North America, because the Italian immigration to the US, the vast majority closed in the 1920s. So these people are not eligible anymore. So yeah, Grace. But Grace, do you have Italian citizenship? Let's read the Manuela. about Italian bureaucracy. She's of Italian. She was not born in Italy, but her father is Italian, was Italian. My parents applied for Italian citizenship when I was born, but her name was misspelled, so they didn't think much. Yeah, yeah. In general, um, the bureaucracy regarding these things in Italy is very, very bad. Also for Italians, but if you have to acquire Italian citizenship, again, the bureaucracy is crazy. And um, according to this law, this new law, the Italian Foreign Minister Antonio Tajani said that reducing the ius sanguinis citizenship is a way also to reduce the load onto municipalities and consulates, because he says that there are so many people applying for citizenship that the Italian bureaucracy, which is terrible in general, cannot cope with the amount of requests. This is probably true, especially Brazilians. There are hundreds of thousands of Brazilians applying every day, every year, in the same villages in Veneto, in northeastern Italy, and these villages are actually overwhelmed by these procedures. But I don't think this will fix Italian bureaucracy by any means. So what happened to Manuela, that they misspelled her last name and she had to wait basically 30 years in order to reobtain the citizenship, is not uncommon. There are a lot of bureaucratic problems. Yeah, I was sent to one office after another. Of course, this is a very very famous story, unfortunately. Yeah, in Italy, if you don't know someone who works in the right public office, you're not gonna get through your issue. That is famous. Then oh my god, then it's incredible because then Tandis, your family story is very much connected to mine, because I have a side of my family who is from this small village in Calabria, known as Guardia Piemontese, and I don't have Sicilians in my family tree, but then I know Erice like my neighborhood in Rome, because because I went on vacation there for 25 years of my life. Erice, Trapani, the beautiful islands of Favignana, and the archipelago Egadi. So I know Erice incredibly well, and it's one of the most beautiful villages in Italy. If you guys go to Italy, that is one of those hidden and out of the main road places that you should absolutely should not miss. Then where are you, where were you born? Are you American or Canadian or whatever? I'm curious. Richard, I was lucky to be naturalized as a minor child of my mom who lived in Italy over 10 years. So naturalized, so you were not born in Italy, right? Richard, let me understand the situation. I have three Italian Californians. I'm so glad to have you guys, because I have a special bond with Italians in California, because you guys are few, and California, despite all the problems that is experiencing now, is, in my opinion, the most beautiful states in the United States, despite again the many problems that there are now. So I particularly love Italian Californian. So Richard, you were naturalized. So let me know. Trump stock. Okay. Hello, Trump stock. Silky, born and raised in San Francisco Bay Area. Paternal grandparents from Sicily. Maternal grandparents from Liguria and Sondrio. I gained citizenship through my Sicilian side. Oh, that's interesting. I imagine, because so you are nearly all Italian. Your family, according to the locations you are telling me, your family came, your different Italian families came in different times. Sicilians probably came late or quite late, 1920s or something. Liguria and Sondrio, which are in the north. Sondrio is in the Italian Alps. Liguria is the northwest region of Italy, bordering the Tyrrhenian Sea. The Ligurians were the first Italian settlers to California, as I said in the video. They arrived to the San Francisco area in the 1840s, 1850s, as sailors for the Kingdom of Sardinia. And at the time, Italy did not even exist. They were working for the Kingdom of Sardinia, the Italian pre-Unitarian state before the Italian unification. Also, this migration from Sondrio in the far north of Italy, I think, is very, very early, while Sicilians emigrated much later. Please, guys, keep writing your stories, because I noticed that other people are entering. So let me know your stories. Also you, Trump stock. So yeah, Silky, yeah, exactly. I was imagining it. So Sicilians arrived in full Italian diaspora 1914, the World War I outbreak year. It's curious that they get to California, because normally Sicilians in those periods they stopped in the East Coast, Midwest, like Chicago, worst case scenario. It was unusual to get to California. Okay, Richard, you moved to Italy when you were 14 years old. Now, if I am not mistaken, your last name is probably Nigerian. Am I correct? Let's see other things. Okay, Lucchese, both Italian parents, born in the US, but you also lived in Pisa, beautiful city in Tuscany, the city of the tower. Didn't apply for Italian citizenship due to mandatory military service. I waited until was 27 years old so now you have it. And your kids are Italian citizens. Now, let me ask you guys this. Now, more or less, if you want to tell me, how old are you guys? Because the problem with the Italian, the people of the Italian diaspora who want to come to Italy, I would be thrilled. I would love you guys to come all to Italy. The thing is that most of you are retiring or retired, which is still okay, because you are retired with the big high income countries pensions, so US, Canada, and so on. So it's still good for the Italian economy. But the problem with the immigration of people from this high income country of the Italian diaspora is that they retire here. They don't come here to work, because they, of course, Americans would earn much less. So this is my problem, and this is why we need classic migration anyway, because we need young people. You guys, because I need to do other video to make other videos about this. You guys don't understand the situation of Italian demography. We don't have young people anymore. Italians don't have kids anymore. It's all old people. Our average age is nearly 50 years old. Italy is a dying country. We desperately need young people. Italians are slowly realizing it, but it's way too late, and people don't want to have kids anyway, because they want to travel. This would be a long story, but Italians are not interested in having kids anymore. I have two, and people look me like an alien because I have two kids. This is the situation. I'm 37 years old. So let me know what you think about this. And also what you think about what would you do to Italy to fix the situation, and if you are interested in the near future to come and live in Italy. What's your situation? Grace, you have both. Thank God you still have your parents. How old are you, more or less? Just I'm curious. Gioia, you are from San Diego. Are you? It's incredible. I have all Italian Californians. I'm so glad. I hope you also watched my video. Waiting on LA consulate LA consulate. I know it's overwhelmed. To review my application. Mother from Teramo. I also have a side of my family from the province of Teramo, from Civitella del Tronto, a very, very small village, which is considered one of the most beautiful villages in Italy. Civitella del Tronto, which is 40 kilometers northeast of Teramo, in the border with Marche region, and is a beautiful, beautiful village. Davoli, oh my God, I heard of this village, but now I can't think of it. Deep Post, grandparents from Ribera, Sicily. I know the village. I know Sicily, despite not having Sicilian family. Sicily is a place of my heart, so I know it very, very well. I went there for nearly 30 years of my life. Now, unfortunately, I am too poor and with 2 kids to go there, but I love Sicily. Took 3 years to do the application and get appointment with in the local council of Los Angeles. So you are also another. I have only Italian Californians. I'm so glad, guys. Please spread my freaking Italian California video to your relatives and friends who care about these things, because again, that was, in my opinion, a great video, but people, I don't know. I think the thumbnail was not good. I was at the beginning of my journey. Now I improved a lot, but that was a great content. Grace, I just returned from Italy not long ago. I cry every time I have to leave. So you do back and forth, Grace. You are Australian, right? If I remember correctly. Silky, actually, Sicilians were in St. Louis. My father moved to California after World War II. Oh, that's interesting. And you're 61, so you are about to retire or retiree. Do you want to move to Italy? Fly Fieri, I am 52. I am the last of my family of Italian immigrants. Where are you from? Lucchese just celebrated his 70th birthday. Our kids in the 30s. Of course, Lucchese, I imagine that your and rightfully so, your kids have great careers in California, a very high income state, but also high cost of living state, so they will never go back to Italy, I imagine. Okay, Richard from Ghana. Interesting, thank you. Silky, I may be on the older side, but I would be happy to do my part in Italian baby making project. I would love to. Yeah, the situation is terrible, Silky. You have no idea. Patrick Alvino. I was born in Brooklyn, New York. Paternal grandfather from Napoli and grandmother from Puglia, Iscitella Gargano. Mother and grandfather from Basilicata near Matera. Trying for citizenship. Okay, you are the typical Italian American diaspora guy. So you were born in Brooklyn. Your parents are from southern Italy. Different places of southern Italy, Puglia, Campania, there could be Sicily, Calabria, but these are the places of the classic Italian diaspora from 1880s to the 1920s. And actually, not this week, but the week after, I will release a video that will try to explain why Italian Americans are nearly all from southern Italy, while Brazilian and Argentine Italians are originally all from northern Italy. So don't miss this, because I think it's interesting. Fly Fieri, mom side from Sicily, Vita, and Belmonte Mezzagno. I don't know these villages, maybe they're very small. They came in through New Orleans. That side is from Corleto Monforte. These probably are very small villages. I've never. I'll check them out afterwards. D Post. We're retired, but we have money. D Post, where are you from? Yeah, you are California. You told me. We ask nothing from the Italian government. We buy property, pay Italian taxes, and contribute to the economy in many ways. We ask nothing of. You're right. What can I tell you? You're right. We still would be a great benefit from having here in Italy high-income people which share a great cultural bond with our country and still consume, because you guys have money, you guys have much bigger pensions than Italians. So even if you don't provide kids and workforce, indirectly you're still helping the country because you buy goods, etc. So I would love you to come, my dear D-Post. Then, Luca, I think we're brothers from another mother. Yeah, you're right. That video was great, really fascinating. Thank you. Gioia Snyder, Davoli, Calabria. So probably your surname is from your husband, I imagine. Serenades. Oh, finally an Italian Brazilian. Coral. Ciao, Italian Brazilian American now living in Bari. My great grandfather was from Isola Rizza. Okay. 3 years ago, I came to Puglia to be recognized. I'm 61 years old, and here I am with my partner. Are you happy? Are you enjoying your life in Puglia? Where are you in Puglia exactly? I was born in Sao Paulo, Brazil, but lived most of my life in the US. I've been coming to Italy for 40 years. So there are many people like this. Yeah, it's incredible. And guys, what do you think about this Italian population crisis and the reform? Let me know in the comments what you think. Angel or Angel, inglese, let me know, Angel, where you're from. Grace, in Australia, we are all from southern Italy. There is a small minority, if you, I guess you watched my video about Australia. There is a small minority of people who came from the north, but very early, mid 1800s, working in mines in Queensland and Western Australia. That was the first part of my video. But then people like you, Grace, who emigrated, whose family emigrated in the 50s and the 60s, yeah, all from southern Italy. Yeah, absolutely. I film in Italy a lot. Hopefully, we'll be back in September, October. Yeah, that would be great. Gabby, another from Western Australia, so I imagine Perth, like the driver Daniel Ricciardo. Serenades, Corale, yes, molto felice. I'm in Bari città. Yeah, I voted today. Yeah, yeah. This referendum about Italian citizenship for people with no Italian blood will never ever pass. I voted because I want to save my country and because I believe it's not right that kids who went to school here, who were born here, they have to wait until their 20s to get the Italian citizenship. But again, most of Italians don't agree with me, and also most of you guys, as I said in the video, don't agree with me, because many people told me, Luca, why is Italy taking people from random African countries while you guys have us from Italians from Brazil, Argentina, US, Canada? Again, I want both. I want both. Okay, then this. It's a mess, but kids are expensive. I know, man, they're very expensive and also very demanding. I would love to have 3, and maybe I will have in the near future, but I think I will be the only Italian to have 3 kids in my entire region, in case it happens, because no one has kids. And also, by the way, this low birth rate tragedy is also touching other countries, as I said in my video about demography. Also, the US is experiencing this, but on a much smaller scale, because they started not having kids much later than us. Italy started not having kids in the 90s. And so now we're screwed, like Japan, but even worse than Japan. But the thing will also arrive, especially to the coasts of the US, where people are more progressive, because according to many studies and statistics, young people on the more progressive side tend to have less kids in general than people maybe from Oklahoma or Texas or Nebraska, whatever. These are statistics. This is not an opinion. Okay, Angel or Angel. I know Italian and Spanish, born and raised in La Carlota, Caracas. So you are from Venezuela. Venezuela, you are from Abruzzo. Venezuela, I want to make a video about this. There is a significant community of Italians that no one knows about. But in general, one of the points of my video was that unfortunately, we Italians, we don't know anything about you guys. Our families born in absentia, born abroad, we are completely disinterested, and that's a shame. That's a shame. I told this numerous times. Um, um, uh, Angel, I have full citizenship. Angel, I have full citizenship and the passport, waiting some easy waters to register my son. And yeah, I know that in Venezuela now is not a nice time. Desiring to live in Italy somehow, someday. Yeah, yeah. As I said in the video, Portugal and Spain are fixing their demographic crisis just by giving practically free access to their former colonies. Both African colonies like Angola and Mozambique for Portugal, but also American colonies like I don't know, Colombia, Venezuela, Argentina, and whatever for Spain. Of course, having a former empire is much easier because they speak the same language, while Italian Americans, Italian Argentines, Italian Brazilians, they don't. Most of them they don't speak Italian, so it's not as easy as for Portuguese and Spanish, but still we should consider their option. So, Dr. Post, they should not allow only 5 years. 10 years is appropriate until Italy gets control of the illegals. Yeah, Post, what can I tell you? Most of the people agree with you. I don't fully, given the circumstances in which Italy is, which is a dying patient. Angela, full citizenship, okay. Meloni said she's not voting in this election because she wants to maintain. Yeah, I know. I like Meloni in many things, but about this, I don't agree with her. Silky, I understand that Italian fears about immigration. Look at the beautiful culture. Yeah. And look at all the people are doing the same example of France and Sweden. So countries which has, and also I made this example in the video. These two countries have immensely better demographics than us, but of course they have problem with the integration of these people. Now, the thing is, in Italian we have a way of saying di che morte vuoi morire. Which death should you pick? Do we want to die old and alone, or do we want to die because we have too many people from other countries and we can't integrate them? This is a choice. But if we don't do any of these things, we're just gonna die. Because again, for the 10th time, you don't understand how serious the Italian demographic situation is I don't have words. I don't have words how serious it is. So if you want me to keep a light open, a light on these topics, and if you want the only channel, because tell me if there is another channel that is dedicated exclusively to you guys, sons and daughters of the Italian diaspora. If you want this channel to keep existing, please, even the smallest amount to make the channel survive is very, very appreciated. Coming back to the chat, Lucchese, those of Italian blood and those born in Italy should have equal ability for Italian citizenship. I agree with you in general, but again, Italians absolutely don't agree with this. Manuela, it depends on how good you are at integration. Italy is terrible. Okay, Manuela is half Norwegian, so she will say that in Norway they did a much better job, and that's possible. I know Norway very well because we go there like 3 times a year per year. Yeah, Italy has been not good at integrating so far, but in my opinion, better than Sweden and France. Also because we have much less people. Despite what Italians think, because Italians think we are overwhelmed by immigration, but we're not. That is a perception driven by some politicians. Viola, I was born right outside of New York City. Mom from Avellino, immigrated to the US in the 1960s, and then from Cosenza in the 1970s. I have a few decades left of working. So you're very young. So we would love to have you back in your region of origin, Campania, but also Calabria. So your immigration is quite late for Italian Americans, 1960s, 1970s. Unusual, not impossible, but unusual. Joseph Lombardo. Joseph, your last name is very Calabrian or Sicilian. Totally agree on kids born and raised in Italy not to wait decades to become Italian. To me, Balotelli is more Italian than Americans with Italian heritage, but that know nothing about nowadays Italy. Hey, okay, I thought exactly like you until I opened the channel, but and I agree with you that Balotelli is full Italian, but to say that people like these people here in the chat, they're not Italian because and they don't know anything of Italy because they were born in other countries, it's not right. I found out this myself, meeting these people, knowing these people, talking to these people in the comments. They have Italy is a big deal for them. It's different ways to be. Of course, they don't know how contemporary Italy works because many of you guys never lived here. Some of you guys never been here. But Italy is still a great deal to you guys, and it's beautiful. So it's not exactly as you said, Joseph. Grace, the population crisis is sad. It saddens to see many young Italians leaving Italy. That is another topic that I want to face in a dedicated video. Yeah, there are many Italians leaving Italy for a number of reasons. Some of them are not related to economics or work, but this is a topic that I want to discuss in another video. Joseph Lombardi, Italian intruder living in the US. So you are Italian, you were born and raised in Italy, but you live in the US. Angel anecdote. I traveled a few times to Sao Paulo and Rio de Janeiro and didn't know anything about Portuguese, and they replied in Italian most of the time. Brazil. In Brazil, there is a lot of Italy, a lot of northern Italy in Brazil, and this is the topic of the video that will come out in 2 weeks. Grace, with all due respect, large volume of foreigners will inevitably change the landscape. Will Italy be the same? No, I agree with you, but I answer you this way: Italy will be no more without this, and will be no more, because Grace, now I don't have time to share, but look at the Italian demographic pyramid. Most of the people are 50 plus. It's over. Do you understand me? It's over. Luca, sorry, I have to run. I'm late to the from the chat. Then it was a super pleasure to have you. Thanks a lot. Thank you. See you in the following videos. Grace, we are more like Italians, even if the Italians don't think so. I feel at home when I'm in Italy. I know, especially you, Grace, because your family immigrated quite late. So for you, this is particularly true. You feel Italian. Joseph, Joseph, you are. I knew that you were from Calabria because Lombardo is also one of the sides of my family who are Calabrian. One of them is Lombardo, and they immigrated to Canada. So Lombardo is a typical last name from Calabria, despite Lombardo means originally from Lombardy. So in of course you have relatives. Maybe we're connected. Where is your village in Calabria? Which is your village in Calabria in particular? I'm curious. Because maybe we are somewhat a relative. So guys, Gioiosa Ionica. Okay, so probably we're close. Thank you. So guys, this is the situation. Gabriel Lawrence, I heard there is a new law proposition to allow descendants to return to Italy, spend 2 years, and then get citizenship. Gabriel, first, where are you from? I'm curious. I haven't heard about this. I will check. But remember that the law that just passed, the one the video is dedicated to, is just the first step. They will further tighten the Italian citizenship by descent. They will. Silky, one hears a lot about Italian bureaucracy, but I have to say the my ius sanguinis process was lengthy but straightforward, efficient, and friendly. Yeah, it's not always the case, but it can be very, very bad Italian bureaucracy, also for Italians. Gabriel, I'm from Brazil, a great grandson of Italians, because I hope you watched my video, which is one of the very first I made and one of the most successful. Gabriel, I hope you watched my video about Italian immigration to Brazil. You guys went to Italy very early, mostly in the 19th century from northern Italy. And in fact, in my video in 2 weeks, I will explain how and why most of Italian Brazilians are originally from northern Italy, so they look different from Italian Americans, they sound different from Italian Americans, they have different cuisine, different trade, different everything. They're very different, okay? So I imagine, Gabriel, correct me if I'm wrong, that your family was originally from, I don't know, Veneto, Emilia, Friuli, Lombardia. Fly Fieri, the Italian government was the one who said we qualified for Iure Sanguinis, then we go through the process, then they changed the law. Yeah, but that's unacceptable. I agree with you. I wouldn't went through the process. They didn't. Yes. So you didn't get it, right? Yeah, Fieri, I totally agree with you. I totally also the timing and the way they did it is terrible. I totally agree with you. The bigger problems were on the US side, but maybe because most of the documents had to come from there. Yeah, because you need to recollect evidence of your ancestors. So you have to go to the village in Italy where you're originally from, and then this village that maybe is like there is one employee in the freaking entire village, like in Veneto for Brazilians, but there are maybe 20,000 people asking. And then these documents have to go back to the consulate in the US or Brazil or Argentina, or whatever. It's a mess, okay? In fact, the minister Tajani said that now they want to just create a centralized office and not go through consulates anymore. Being Italian, when I hear a centralized office, I am almost terrified, but maybe this time will be better. Joseph, anyway, I didn't mean to offend anybody, but I would encourage people with Italian heritage to get to know nowadays Italy, not the country from 50 100 years ago that doesn't exist anymore. Yeah, but that's the story of the families. Of course, if they come and if they watch Italian TV, see how we live, they will realize that we're much different, but that's not their fault. When their families emigrated, Italy was immensely different from now. You can see, as I said in many of my videos, you can see this in the food of the Italian diaspora. Think about Italian American food. It's not that it's not authentic, but first it was deeply influenced by American food, but also this is food that was the food of Italians 150 years ago. So of course it's different from today's Italian food, because today's Italian food, differently from what many people think, is not so traditional and old. In the 20th century, many modifications occurred. So what I eat now in 2025 in Italy is very different from what the great grandfather that went to Brooklyn in the 1890s was used to eat. Very different. Actually, I've been doing it myself here in North End in Boston. Okay. Gabriel, yes, part of my family comes from Veneto, Lorenzon, typical last name of Veneto. Yeah, you're all from Veneto. Is it true that people from Veneto curse and blaspheme a lot? Yes. In Italy, we have, unfortunately, the tradition of the so-called bestemmia, which means basically cursing against God. But people from Veneto and from Tuscany are particularly famous for cursing against God all the time in their own dialects. And now there is another Italian from Brazil who is Veneto, Seben. You notice that most of the Italian last names from Veneto are ends not with a vowel like classic Italian last name, but with a consonant. Lorenzon, Seben, normally with an N. And again, if you go to certain parts of Brazil, it's like being in Veneto. They're all freaking from Veneto. Veneto now is one of the richest regions of Italy. When these people emigrated, it was the poorest. It was poorest than southern Italy, especially not on the sea where Venice is, but in the Venetian countryside. And so hundreds of thousands of people from Veneto emigrated to Brazil. It's again, this is something that I'm gonna discuss further in the video that you guys will find in 2 weeks. Okay, guys. Okay. Do you have other questions on curiosity about this topic that you wanna discuss? Chat. Buongiorno Santino from Australia. Okay, your last name is very southern Italian. I would say. Yeah, people don't know that Italian surnames are incredibly different from one another. We have a variety of surnames from south to north that is actually insane. Especially Americans are used to the fact that English last names are like 20, 30 last names. They're all the same. Johnson, Robinson, Ferguson, whatever. The variety is very, 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 very little. Okay. We have thousands and thousands of last names in Italy. It's one of the richest variety of last names in the world. Yeah, you're from Calabria. Yeah, I could imagine. Okay, guys. So we are about to hit 1 hour. If you guys have some further question or curiosity, I'm here. Okay. Fly Fieri, why is there a lack of interest from Italians about their family that left here? This is a great question, Fieri. You have to understand that one of the main points of my videos, in every video, no matter the topic, is that unfortunately Italians nowadays are very disinterested about everything. They see people like you as these incredibly distant people who speak different languages, who don't speak like them, don't look like them, don't dress like them. They're generally incredibly disinterested. And especially young generations, because with older generations it was different. My grandparents had connections with the sides of their families emigrated to the Americas, and I have many. But people of my age and even younger, worse, they don't know anything about. But in general, they know very little about these countries in general, because Italians don't study geography. They're terrible in geography. They don't care. They're terribly ignorant in geography. So they know very few things about countries like Argentina and Brazil, even more when it comes to the Italian diaspora. Again, this is the only channel that cares about you. So please, with your attention, with your comments, watching the video, spreading the video, when you can, leaving €1, let me survive, because I'm the only one who's caring about you guys, because I care about you. What can I say? So Grace, this chat content makes me happy. Nice seeing all these comments from people who think I love Italy. Of course, Grace. I think it's nice for you to also meet other people who are like you, maybe have different family stories, but at the end of the day, they're all freaking Italians. Gabriel, something that happened in Brazil was that many immigrants, not just Italians, got their surnames corrupted, of course, into Portuguese. It happened. It also happened with also because Portuguese and Venetians are not this different. And so the thing mixed and blend. Okay, absolutely. Silky, two Italian dialect dictionaries from the same villages, one by a local teacher, the other by an Australian immigrant from 1950. The Australian is considered more authentic. Who is the real Italian? Two Italian dialect dictionary. The Australian. No, I don't know what you're talking about. I'm so sorry. By local teacher, yeah, you have to show me maybe these resources. I've never heard about this. No, I don't know anything about this. Post. I find that the prejudice of northern Italians against South persists, and this is a topic of the video I will discuss in 2 weeks. I hesitate to tell anyone in northern Italy that my family is from Sicily. I've experienced a cold response. Yeah, this is the story of my country. This is a big topic. This is a very, very big topic. I think Italians from southern Italy and Italians from northern Italy have more things in common than what people think. The prejudice is mostly based on economics, is mostly based on the fact that at a certain point of Italian history, Northern Italy became significantly richer, and this is still the situation. The situation even got worse in terms of the gap between the two. So the racism that does exist is based on economics. It's not a racism based on oh, you guys are not Italians, or no, we're not Italians, we are Northern Europeans. That is just folklore from some political parties. It's not like, for example, in Spain, where the Catalans don't feel Spanish, the Basque don't feel Spanish, and so on. It's exclusively based on the economic gap that created racism. But Italians from northern Italy and from southern Italy, despite eating different food, speaking different dialects, and looking different, they have very many Italian things in common. This is my idea that is based on the things that I read, my personal experience. But this doesn't mean that there is not a lot of racism. There is a lot of racism from southern Italians, from northern Italians to southern Italians. It has decreased a lot in last years due to the fact that basically if you go to Milan or Turin today in 2025, like 80% of the people either is from southern Italy or their families are from southern Italy. So you cannot be racist against your own. I mean, you can, but it's less stronger than in the 1950s and 1960s, when the first people from the south of Italy emigrated to northern Italy. And yes, there was a lot of racism. Now it's much less, because again, Milan is ruled by people from Sicily, Campania, Calabria. Either they were born in Milan from southern families, or they were born in Sicily, studied the university in the south, but moved to Milan to have better jobs. So there is a lot of mix. Raw talks. What are you doing, Luca? Where's the coffee? I don't know what you're talking about. I don't even drink coffee. I'm probably the only Italian who doesn't drink coffee. Yeah. Many people from the south say that the south was rich. This is another topic that I want to touch. There are many people from southern Italy that said, oh, the south was richer, but with the Italian unification, it got poorer, and the north got richer, spoiling the south. There is some truth in this, but it's much more complicated than this. I wanna touch this in another video. Yeah, I have a student of mine, ciao bello, from a class in the past, that is telling me ciao. Sam Mosley, there is a community of people from Veneto in St. Louis. Yeah, very it's very small, but there is. You're right. Are you one of them? Because in that area of the US, it's all Germans, overwhelmingly Germans, but there are some Italians. Silky, I get that to the post. The first time I experienced prejudice in Italy, Sicilian last name, living in the north. Yeah, that's true. Ciao Angelo, another student of mine from the past. Fieri, like how in USA people view people from like West Virginia as poor. Yeah, I think there are some similarities. Yeah. Yeah. My wife is telling me that dinner is ready, so I have to leave. Torino, Juve. Yeah, I know what you mean. Pose. My cousin in Sicily is a doctor, but he cannot get a job in the north. Ma that I think is a little bit too much. If you go to hospitals in northern Italy, like 90% of doctors are from southern Italy. I'm telling you, even here in Rome. If you go to Rome is in central Italy, but there was a lot of immigration from the south, including parts of my family when Rome became the capital of Italy in 1870s onwards. And in healthcare, 90% of doctors are from southern Italy. Julia, hey Luca, I can add my family moved to Buenos Aires, of course, because you are from Bergamo in Lombardy, which now is one of the richest city. This is my student Julia, is one of the richest cities in Italy, but at the time it was poor, and many from Lombardia went to Argentina, yeah, in the 30s. And you don't know, and you are a 25 whatever year old from northern Italy, and you don't know any. You do, because you are a student, because you are passionate about this topic, but these young Italian people, they don't know anything about their families emigrated in the Americas. Zero. Distance is a huge point in this lack of maintaining of the relationship. Of course it is, but it's not the only one, in my opinion. Sam, my wife got Italian citizenship by the center. Family is from St. Louis area. Where is she from? Is the origin from Veneto? Yeah, you told me. Okay, Santino is talking in dialect. Grace, do you think the Italian government could change the citizenship by blood, making it easier for many others to apply? Considerable? No, I don't think they're gonna do it. Santino, you have two passport. Luca, you might like a documentary about Italian immigrants to St. Louis done by a filmmaker named Puleo. Your reals, so, is it a relative of yours? Yeah, thank you so much. Leave it in the chat, guys. Thank you so much. I have to close the live. It was an absolute honor to have you here on the channel and on the live. Thank you so much again. If you want to contribute, I will be glad, but also just watching videos, commenting, spreading. The channel is growing, and if I had more time, it could grow even more, but I don't have time, and it's already a miracle that I am making a video per week. But that's what I can do now, and not all the weeks, not every week. So thank you so much, and see you very soon in the next live. Thank you, guys.